Hello, dear students. I am Kamre Namrata Jaivant, Assistant Professor in Physics at Arts, Science and Commerce College, Ramanand Nagar, Burli. And today we are here for online lecture series for BSc 1. The name of the chapter that I will discuss is Oscillations. It belongs to Semester 1, Paper 2 and Unit 3. Okay, so let us begin with the chapter. And to begin with, we will go for introduction. So how do I define or how do I put into words what oscillatory motion or what oscillations are? So any motion which repeats itself after equal interval of time is what we call as periodic motion. And this periodic motion is also called as harmonic, or we also call it as oscillatory motion. Now, this oscillatory motion will lead to the phenomenon or the motion which occurs because of this oscillatory motion is what we call as oscillations. These oscillations are also called as vibrations, and therefore we can also call this periodic, harmonic or oscillatory motion as vibratory motion as long as the period or the time period of oscillation remains same. Now, what are examples of periodic motion? Examples of periodic motion include motion of planet around the sun, motion of a piston inside a cylinder used in automobile engines, and it also includes motion of a ball in a bowl. So basically the motion which will repeat itself after equal interval of time is what we define as periodic motion or as oscillatory motion. Now, when we talk about periodic or oscillatory motion, the thing that we need to remember is that there are going to be forces which act on the particle so that its motion will occur. Now, one such force that will result because of this oscillatory motion or the force which results into oscillations is what we call as restoring force. Now, these oscillatory motions are limited by some maximum displacements on either side of equilibrium position. So what will happen if we have a particle? Let's say I have a particle which is, let's say that I have a particle which is hung by a thread, and then it it is oscillating from one point to other point. This motion is what we call as to and fro motion. Now this particle will start from the mean position, it will go to the first extreme position, it will go to the maximum point of displacement to which it can reach to, and from there it will again come back to the mean position. Now from this mean position, this particle again will continue to move towards the point of other extreme because of inertia, and it will reach this other extreme point, and here the restoring forces will act on it, and this restoring forces will try and bring this particle back to the mean position. Okay, so here is the mean position. At mean position, x will be equal to 0, and at extreme position our displacement will be maximum, that is what we call as amplitude. Now, the oscillatory motions are limited by some maximum displacements, that is what I said. And this maximum displacement is because of the restoring forces acting on the particle. Now, when displaced from its mean position, a restoring force proportional to the displacement and directed opposite to the displacement is developed. So if the particle is moving to the left hand side or to the extreme position of left hand side, the restoring force will be acting towards the mean position. Similarly, if the particle has moved to the other extreme or to the extreme side of right hand side, the restoring force will again be acting towards the mean position. So the thing that we need to remember, or the thing that we need to understand, is that this restoring force will always be acting towards the mean position, that is towards x is equal to 0. Therefore, this restoring force is going to be 0 at equilibrium. As there is no displacement, there will be no restoring force acting on the particle. When the particle has moved to the other extreme or to the either extreme, in that case, the restoring force will be maximum, because we already have said that this restoring force is directly proportional to displacement. If you can see here, I have said that restoring force is proportional to the displacement. So more is going to be the displacement, more is going to be the restoring force. And what I've said earlier is that this restoring force results in bringing back the particle to its mean position, and from the mean position, inertia acts on the particle and it goes to the other extreme. So some way or other way, this restoring force is responsible for producing oscillations. And not just restoring force, but along with restoring force, there is inertia that acts on the particle as it starts moving towards the mean position to make it oscillate from one extreme point to the other extreme point. I hope you are clear with this concept of restoring force. Okay, so just let me clear the images and so that we can move onwards. Okay. So once we have talked or once we have discussed about restoring force, we can also discuss about various other quantities related to these oscillations. And the point that I will further discuss is kinetic and potential energy of a oscillating particle. So when talking about kinetic and potential energy of a particle, we firstly need to know what kinetic and potential energies are. So kinetic energy is the energy acquired by a moving particle due to its motion. So the energy that comes into existence or that comes into picture because of motion of a particle is what we call as kinetic energy. And the energy which comes into existence because of position of a particle is what we call as potential energy of the particle. Okay, so if I have an object, a rolling object or an object which is in motion, the energy which is into picture is kinetic energy. And let's say I have placed a pot, or let's say I have placed a particle at a particular height h, then the energy which comes into existence because of position of that particle from the ground is going to be potential energy. Okay, now when we talk about this kinetic and potential energy, I will again go back to the original diagram that we have drawn, where I have this inextensible thread and there is a bob attached, and this bob is going to perform, or this pendulum, this complete setup is what we call as pendulum. This pendulum is going to perform oscillatory motion. Okay, so what will happen? Let us talk about the energies. Now what will happen here? The particle, when it moves towards one extreme or if it moves towards other extreme, its height increases from that from of mean position. Okay, so if I say that height here is 0, then here in this case, this height is going to be h max. Okay, and what do we know? We have formulas for potential energy and for kinetic energy. For potential energy, the formula is half mv. For kinetic energy, the formula is half mv square. So as long as the particle is in motion, there will be kinetic energy executed by the particle. But when the particle moves from this, when the particle is at mean position, my potential energy or the potential energy is given by mg into h. The potential energy is given by m into g and into h. Now at mean position, I know that h is equal to 0. The particle is at the lowest possible point. Now in that case, what I can say that h is equal to 0. Therefore, potential energy of the particle at mean position or at equilibrium is going to be minimum. What is the minimum value? If I put h is equal to 0, the minimum potential energy will be 0. Now, as the particle moves towards one extreme, your height will become h max. So here in this case, the particle will gain or the particle will possess maximum potential energy. So potential energy is going to be maximum at extreme position. As we have said that potential energy increases with displacement from mean position. Now, when the particle is at its extreme point, then it is the maximum displaced from its mean position, and in that case the potential energy is going to be maximum. So what about kinetic energy? Now when the particle is here at its extreme position, this particle will no more move forward. Now the restoring forces will come into action, and this restoring forces will pull the particle back to the mean position. Now when the particle is moving back to the mean position, its height will continuously reduce, and because of this reduction in the height, it will accelerate towards the mean position. Now as the particle starts to accelerate towards the mean position, at mean position its kinetic energy is going to be maximum. So all you need to remember is that kinetic energy is going to be maximum at the mean position, and potential energy is going to be maximum at both the extreme points. At both the extreme points, potential energy is maximum, kinetic energy is minimum, whereas at mean position, kinetic energy is maximum and potential energy is going to be minimum. Okay, so this is all we can talk about kinetic and potential energy of a oscillating particle. Now, if we talk about total energy, of course, we know is equal to kinetic energy plus potential energy. But the thing that we need to understand is at extreme positions or at mean positions, only kinetic energy or only potential energy is coming into picture. Okay, so if I talk about total energy of the particle at extremes, then it is going to be total energy is equal to only potential energy. At that point, the particle is still, and therefore there will be no forces, there will be no kinetic energy acting on the particle. The particle is still, therefore velocity is equal to 0. Half mv square will go to 0 at extreme position. At mean position, your height is equal to 0, therefore h will go to 0, and the potential energy therefore will be equal to 0. Okay, so just let me clear this image so that we can move forward to the next slide. So this is what I have discussed about kinetic and potential energy of oscillating particle, and I hope that this concept is clear to you all. Just let me move on. Give me a moment. Next phenomenon that occurs is inertia. So when the particle is coming back from extreme position back to the mean position, then it will accelerate. As it is accelerating, its acceleration is going to be maximum at the mean point. And as the inertia comes into action, the particle, instead of staying at mean position, it gets pushed to the other extreme. And then again, when it goes to the other extreme point, the restoring forces come into action. And these restoring forces, as they are directed towards the mean position, it will push the particle back to the mean position. But when the particle is coming back to the mean position, it will get accelerated again. And due to this acceleration, and because of this inertia coming into picture, the particle is pushed to the other end. And in this way, the process goes on repeating itself, and we can say that the particle is oscillating or it is performing oscillatory motion. So due to inertia, the particle move towards opposite side of equilibrium position, where the kinetic energy is again converted into potential energy, and this process of conversion of kinetic energy into potential energy and potential energy into kinetic energy goes on repeating itself, and therefore we say that particle oscillates or the particle vibrates. Okay, so I want to show you this slide where we can see kinetic and potential energy of a particle. Let's watch it. Now see here, if you can see, there is this green big bar, and we have green and red color. Green color is for kinetic energy, red color is for potential energy. Now when the particle is at mean position, we can see that this bar has completely turned into green. Now, because this particle, why has this bar turned completely into green? That is because when the particle is at mean position, it has got maximum of kinetic energy. And why has it got maximum of kinetic energy? That is because it has got lot of velocity, or the speed of the particle at mean position is maximum. Okay, let me just play it again. Now here you can see that potential energy has gone to the bottom. So at this point, the potential energy is the minimum possible. If I talk about a particle midway somewhere, which is not at its extreme yet, you can see that as the particle starts moving from the mean position to the extreme position, the color goes changing from green to red. So this is significance, or this indicates that as the particle moves from mean position to the extreme position, the kinetic energy gets converted into potential energy. So all the green bar is getting converted into red. Okay, just watch it. Now here the particle has started approaching towards the mean position, and you can see that whole of the potential energy is getting converted back into kinetic energy. Yes. So when the particle is at its extreme, this green bar has converted completely into red, which means that at the extreme position, there is complete potential energy present. There is no kinetic energy, and maximum gravitational potential energy is present. Now, this is also because the particle is at its maximum height. And since it is at maximum height, the potential energy, which we calculate by mass into gravity into height, is going to be maximum. Now, when the particle has reached to its minimum position, we can see that the particle has acquired maximum kinetic energy. Now, since h has gone to 0, Therefore, the particle is at its minimum gravitational potential energy, and this bar, it has converted completely into green. Yes. And I thank the producer of this video for letting me use it for the purpose of education and for the purpose of making you understand, making you imagine how these oscillations actually are performed. Let us move on to the next slide. So when talking about the next slide, we will have some definitions to talk about. So there are few definitions that I want you people to know before you can understand or before you get to go into the mathematical part of oscillations. Okay. So the first definition that I will talk about is free oscillations. Now imagine there are no external forces acting on a particle that is performing oscillations. Now in this case, what will happen is this particle will continue to perform oscillations and there will be no forces, no opposing forces that will stop the particle from oscillating. So when no opposing forces or when not opposed by external forces, the oscillations of a particle will last for infinite amount of time. And such oscillations which are performed in the absence of external forces is what we call as free oscillations. Now, if I go for an example, we have an example called as supercurrent. So in case of supercurrent also, there are no resistances acting, and therefore this current flows in the wire for infinite amount of time. In the case of oscillations also, there is no external forces acting, and therefore this particle will continue to move or continue to oscillate for infinite amount of time. The next definition that we have is of damped oscillations. Now, let's say there are external forces acting. So if I talk about room conditions, in room conditions, we have gas molecules present, we have air molecules moving from here and there. And if I start oscillating a pendulum in a room, which is a room at room temperature, so in that case, the gas molecules will be exerting some opposing forces. This will be exerting some resistive forces. And because of these resistive forces, the oscillating particle will perform some opposition. And because of this opposition, the particle will not oscillate with the same amplitude for infinite amount of time. Instead, the oscillations will reduce with time, and after a particular time, it will ultimately stop. Okay, so when oscillating particles experience opposing forces and the particle stops ultimately, such oscillations are what we call as damped oscillations. And in the regular day-to-day life or in the regular room conditions, damped oscillations is what we observe. For free oscillations, we need non-resistive medium. So let's say we need vacuum for creations of free oscillations. In the room temperature, all we observe is damped oscillations. The particle comes to rest after a particular amount of time. The next definition that I will talk about is damping forces. Now, these oscillations are stopped by some opposing forces, as I said earlier. Okay, and these opposing forces that lead to damped oscillations or that lead to ultimate stoppage of the oscillating particle is what I call as damping forces. Okay, now imagine we have got fourth definition, forced oscillations. I'm explaining you the fourth definition now, the forced oscillations. So let us imagine that the particle is getting damped or it is damping in a room condition. And what I do is I provide some external energy source to that particle so that it can oscillate with the same amount of amplitude for infinite amount of time, or let's say for a particular amount of time, as long as I am providing some external forces to it. So when we supply external energy to the oscillating particle so as to replenish the lost energy, then the particle continues to oscillate indefinitely. And such oscillations is what I call as forced oscillations. Okay. So what am I doing is I have got a system which is performing damped oscillations, and what am I doing is I'm providing some external force so that this particle can oscillate for a bit more amount of time, as long as I'm providing some external forces or some external energy to it so that it can reacquire the lost energy. In that case, the particle will continue to oscillate with the same amplitude indefinitely, and such oscillations is what we call as forced oscillations. Okay, let us now talk about the next definition, which is amplitude: the maximum displacement of an oscillating particle from its mean position. So if I draw it again, let me just draw it. So this is extensible thread and this is the pendulum, and if that particle performs oscillations from to and fro, then the maximum point to which it can reach from the mean position, this distance is what I call as amplitude. This distance is what I call as amplitude. The amplitude is generally given by A when we talk about the phenomenon of oscillations. Okay, so the maximum point of displacement from the mean position to the extreme position is what we call as amplitude of a particle. So I hope that you have understood various definitions and various phenomena related to the concept of oscillations. We will further talk about it in more determined way and more elaborately in the next lecture. I stop at this point. Thank you. Thank you for watching.